Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we are back for Hades full release. The game is finally out, and of course we've been playing this game on early access for the past almost year at this point. But this is the full thing, so for anyone who is new here, we are playing as Zagreus here, Prince of the Underworld, and we are trying to escape said Underworld because this is a action roguelike game. And so what we will have is the assistance from some gods and goddesses, like Athena.
From the three fates. I've such a list upon Olympus here. It seems to be connected to your own, as several prophecies already are fulfilled. Isn't it such an honor to urge fate along?
Right. So we will now have the choice of choosing between three different options here. Divine Strike will empower our attack and allow us to deflect with 75% increased damage, or we can upgrade our special, which is, with the sword, a bit of a slam skill, or we can upgrade our cast, which is our ranged ability right now, and make it so that that can also deflect. Let's perhaps stick with our default attack right now, and I'll show you what that looks like here. Enemies down. Okay. Let's head on out of here, and so what we will find is that we will have several rooms, of course, as we're going through the underworld trying to escape. And in each room, we will find either enemies or other encounters of some variety. Like these hands that are trying to grab us and whatnot. Or these guys who are trying to spawn other friends. So it's our job to take them out, clear the areas, and try to find a way out of this place. And what with the way the underworld is set up, things will be shifting every time, so new rooms. And this time we'll see, every time we go into a room, there's an indicator here suggesting what we might expect to find on the other side. So this one, well, may or may not mean that we're about to run into another friend of sorts. And so, not so surprisingly perhaps, these things here, when you step on them, will explode. And these guys shoot them out. We want to take them out early. And that area over there, if we were to step on it, would have created some spikes, would have dealt some damage to us. So, what is this, you ask?
Say, what happened last time, man? It seemed like you were rather close, but then we couldn't see you anymore from here, and now you're back? Well, give another go.
Alright, it's a boon from Dionysus this time. And so, we could have our special upgraded, our dash ability, or our call, which we do not yet have. This is basically our special ability, or I shouldn't say special, because there is an ability that is actually called a special, but our super ability of sorts that charges up over the course of defeating enemies in a room. And so, this one, I feel like we might want to take the Drunken Dash.
How about another?
So generally speaking, we'll have three options every time we run into those types of boon encounters. And over here, we will find some of these witches. I don't believe we've yet seen on this run. They will shoot some projectiles at us. And perhaps step on those traps that we are trying to avoid ourselves. This is what our cast looks like. That's how we attack from range. We have 3 ammunition at the moment. When we run out of said ammunition, our bloodstones, we are not able to use that anymore, at least until we take people out. Then those bloodstones drop on the ground, as you were seeing for a second there. And down people go. Pick up some gemstones here. Have the option of going through to this area. However, we also have the option of descending down there, taking some damage in the process, yes, but for what purpose, you ask? Why, to descend into the realm of chaos, of course. Earn there with some additional coins for us. This is our coin count, or obols, in the bottom right corner there. And so, I believe this is our first damage we've taken thus far this run, so we're looking okay here. Let's see what we have when we speak to this person, or thing.
Send their messages to you unprompted, providing a choice of blessing, no say. I seek to understand their point of view, but it is difficult.
Okay. And once again, options this time, but very different, the boons that we're getting from Chaos here, in that they will have a somewhat significant downside to them for 3 or 4 encounters, and then what happens is, once those 3 or 4 encounters are done, then we get a very powerful bonus. So, I was saying before that we started off with 3 ammunition for our cast ability. If we were to go this route, then after 3 encounters we would get another maximum cast. Otherwise, we can have all of our future boons have an increased chance of being higher rarity, or we can upgrade the power of our attack by 74%. That is quite a lot. The downsides are that we reduce our total life, we take damage every time we attack, meaning that we have to use casts and specials, or we can't earn coins for 4 encounters. And getting the extra ammunition is helpful, yes. Getting additional rarity on our future boons this early on in a run could certainly be helpful, but 74% increased damage is a lot. So let's go that route. And then this time round, we have the option between, well, these were the gemstones we saw last time. We've seen keys as well. We've not yet seen this on this run, at least. So let's go this route. And there are many updates with the full release of HADES. Personally, I have not read the patch notes because I like to keep that stuff as a bit of a surprise and experience it firsthand. I suppose in some ways it feels like a minor spoiler if you're reading the patch notes, at least in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to discovering what those new things are. But from what I hear, there are a lot of changes across the board. So hopefully we'll get the chance to see some of those here. Those enemies down. And this time, we get some darkness there, which is another form of resources, I guess you could say. And also provides us a little bit of an HP boost there. Okay, so this is one option. This being the other. What exactly does a pouch of coins mean? What exactly does this exclamation point mean? Let's check it out.
And you'll keep busy with your boulder if you know what's good for you, you little cheat. Don't go thinking I'm not watching you.
Oh.
I appreciate your vigilance, madam, and surely I'll be getting Baldy up this very hill in no time flat, despite the fact that I have never once achieved this.
Oh, Sisyphus, no! He is a tortured soul, I'm sorry. Okay, so Megara and Sisyphus. Megara appears to be gone now. Sisyphus, not as much.
Baldy, while on one hand I know that making offerings to you won't really help me get out of here, on the other hand, maybe it will.
Oh, okay. So Sisyphus, yes, but also he does have a boulder right next to him. Baldy. Oh, he doesn't have anything to say right now, but one day maybe. One day. I don't know. So we can also gift nectar to friends and show our appreciation toward them. And why not do that for Baldy here, I'd say?
What's the latest, Baldy? Had any good tumbles down that hill of late?
Oh, have you? Oh, he's right, he's right.
Cheers.
Baldy's got your back.
Thanks, Baldy. As for Sisyphus, though...
You've really never gotten Baldy to the top before.
Never got the boulder to the top, not even once. Always tumbles down right at the very end. Lost count after the 19,000th time or so. But
Oh.
you know what? One of these days, I bet it's going to stick.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Sisyphus. That sounds like the numbers are not working in your favor. However, Sisyphus does give us the option here to either heal up a bit, get some more darkness, or get some more coins. And remember, we did take that boon from Chaos that meant that we could not pick up coins. I actually don't know if this one counts. If upon clicking this option we would get 0 coins, or if it would be a bit of a workaround, a new way for us to still get a little bit of coins, at least for the time being. As interested as I am in doing that in the name of science, I think for the sake of taking something that definitely does work, let's go for the darkness, because I don't think we need a ton of healing here.
Never enough.
That will in fact, well, Zagreus in fact was precisely enough for us to get to full HP here, and that has some coins in it. However, well, as you saw there, our 167 number does not go up, because we cannot pick up coins. And this was a bit of a mini-boss, and a tough one, at that.
And I'm locked in.
Yeah, new friend here, it seems. This is one of the newer enemies in the game. Not new to this patch, I don't believe. But still a recent addition, I would argue, the most difficult enemy by quite some margin in this area of the underworld.
The shadows.
Fortunately, back to the shadows with you.
Last time your father and I spoke, he told me I was all washed up. Can you believe the nerve of it, nephew? Why, he took the words right out of my mouth.
So some help from Poseidon here. And he does have an epic version of his special ability, which gives plus 130% damage to the special. Now, this is new. Previously, this would have given a flat number in terms of the damage. This would not have been a percentage, so that's interesting. A little bit intriguing there. We have not yet taken Floodshot. That's what this little indicator here, the little scroll means, is that we have not yet taken this option. So that's a bit intriguing. I'm rather surprised, because this is not actually all that rare of an ability. But same idea with Hydraulic Might. Your attack and special are stronger for the first 10 seconds of an encounter, plus 63%. So if we could make a point of attacking people very quickly, then this would help us out. Which is tempting, because of course, in 2 more rooms, we will have the ability to start gaining coins again, because our Chaos Boon will evolve, so to speak, and we will also, at that point in time, gain the 74% increased damage. So if you combine that with this, suddenly we're stacking up pretty huge amounts of damage, which is tempting. I think we go that route. Of course, it's only going to do things for the first 10 seconds of an encounter, and that's certainly not going to be the entire time.
The most violent wretches of Tartarus are sealed away even from other condemned souls. Their only visitors, those fool enough to attempt escape.
Yeah, you know, like us.
Let's do this again sometime.
Yeah! Okay, so this time round, we can pick up some more darkness, which we are on full HP, so it wouldn't help us from a healing standpoint. Perhaps better for us to go this way, in that case. And you guys saw us do a little bit of this with Boldy, that being pick up some nectars, and you see we have that little effect around us, so we did get hit there, I believe for the first time, and I walked into that trap, but that was the effect of the boon that we just picked up, giving us the increased damage at the beginning. We should probably be throwing some casts out earlier on, but there we go. Took a little bit of damage there, but we get this nectar here, and it will also upgrade a random ability of ours. And at the moment, that could be our attack, could be our dash, or it could be this increased damage at the beginning of the encounter. So,
Good stuff.
it was the dash, sure thing. And here we have our first trove of the run, and what this is
Whatever, let's try it.
is basically a bit of a horde mode, in which we must take out these enemies as quickly as possible. The sooner we take them out, the more rewards we will get. As you can see, hovering over the chest of the trove, there's a number, that being how much HP we will get back at the end of this encounter. That number goes down the longer it takes us to complete this, so we want to do this as soon as possible. Everyone down there did take a little bit of damage in the process, actually. Not an insignificant amount. However, more than enough to get back up to full upon completing that trove. Okay, here we have a heart or a hammer, which I believe are 2 other things we've not yet seen this run. Let's go the hammer route. You will see why in just a minute. Okay, so remember, we want to go quick. As soon as we enter the rooms, we have the additional damage. And remember that our normal attack can deflect abilities, so those guys, like these witches here, that shoot projectiles, it is helpful to be able to bounce those back in their faces. And we should probably be using our cast a little more aggressively in this room, because we have lots of people who are far away from us. There are lots of these numbskulls here. That is our special, which I believe that might be the first time I've used that thus far in this run, but this is what it looks like. It's our larger area ability. It's a little bit slower, but it is useful on occasions such as that, where we can take everyone out in one hit. And that is our Chaos Boon evolving here. So we now do have the plus 74% attack damage, so looking forward to that. And then this is the hammer that we just found, and this is a different kind of upgrade. We can have it so that our attack fires a wave that pierces foes, dealing 30 damage. We can have our dash strike, that being when we dash and attack more or less simultaneously. There's sort of a different combo-like skill there. It hits twice and deals plus 20% damage. Or our attack restores HP per hit, but we have 60% less maximum HP. This is a tough one. It is very build-defining in that it is a fundamental change to the way in which you play. It's tempting. I do like it, but I also like the fact that we are scaling a fair bit of damage here. So I feel like double edge might be the best way to make that a thing. So those attacks like that are going to be the ones that deal additional damage. Here we have the option of going darkness or gems. We aren't quite on full HP, so let's go darkness. And we want to go fast there. I think we will find that, especially after picking up our Chaos Boon, that at the beginning of these encounters here, we should be dealing a ton of damage. Who's left? You guys? Use our special, slam those guys when they're in a group. Hello. Goodbye. I haven't seen much of those big guys. I think we have, I'm assuming, seen them at least once thus far, because they are fairly common. Oh, I'm just going for a special, and it's a little bit slower. We did get hit in the process there. Let's throw some of these from afar. While we're a bit away from other people. There's our special.
More darkness.
And everybody down. Darkness actually not quite enough for us to get back up to full HP here. Here we can go with a key, or we can go with the darkness. And if we want to make sure we're at maximum HP, then we could go the darkness route. Well, let's go keys here, because we've done a few rooms now for darkness. And this, actually, is just a couple of keys.
Another key.
And a life restoration room, which isn't doing too much for us, but we weren't quite on max HP, so did something at least. And now we could go to this place here with the pouch of ovals, or we could go to this one here, the heart. Let's go to the heart for now, because I don't yet think we've gone to any of these. And it gives us maximum HP. So we've gone up from 100 to 125 now. And this time, well, let's just say, prepare yourself.
I'm here, Meg.
Hey, Meg.
So, how many times have we been going at it like this, Zagreus? You tired of me yet?
So Megara, the first of the Furies, we saw her earlier, chastising Sisyphus. This time, though, it'll be our turn.
We're both immortals, Meg. We'll be seeing plenty of each other for a while yet. I've come to welcome these occasions.
That's one way to look at it.
Then good. Lashing you across the face beats waiting for the opportunity to do so. Come.
Okay, so we had a mini-boss early on, this being our first actual full-blown boss fight here. Remember, we want to deal as much damage early on as we can. Deliberately going up straight to her. Does have a bit of an immunity phase. Ooh, okay. This is one of her big skills in which she fires a bazillion projectiles at us. And again, kind of stood directly in her face, deliberately understanding that we wanted to maximize our damage, but did mean that we took a little bit of damage in the process. Here is that ability again, and we cannot quite attack quickly enough to just deflect all those projectiles back at her. So what we really need to do in that circumstance is to dodge a bit. This is one of her other abilities, that being dealing some damage in those circles there. A bit of a delay, but she's down.
Be seeing you around.
I suppose so. So Meg down.
All right.
Like I said, that was our first full-blown boss fight of this run, at least. Ooh.
The Erinyes, known also as the Furies. They are the trusted sentinels of Lord Hades, charged with torturing the worst of mortal kind, and ridding the underworld of any fool enough to trespass where they do not belong.
Yeah, like us.
I'll just have to try harder next time.
Yeah. Okay, don't think there's anything else in this room for us. So with that, that allows us to move on out of that area there. Ooh. Interesting. New animations here. Totally new area, in fact.
None other than those in the trusted inner circle of Lord Hades are authorized to enter the intricate chambers connecting the vast regions of the underworld. But the prince decides to barge in anyway.
Yeah, you know, as one does.
I barge where I please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so there were, of course, interconnecting areas before, but this looks entirely different now, and it is amazing. Thought I saw another... Oh, that's just a sparkly little badge there, I guess, in the middle of the room. For a second, I thought that was another thing for us to interact with. Okay, so we heal up here. We, of course, didn't actually need it on that occasion, because we healed up a little bit when we got the darkness at the end of that previous fight. And here we have the option to do a few things. We can change our keepsake, and so I set this before we started off on the run, but these are basically our items of sorts. They give us additional boosts of some variety, and the one that I've taken at this point in time is the Broken Spear Point. That means that after we take damage, we have a 1.5 second duration in which we are impervious to taking more damage. So makes it such that when there are multiple people attacking you in quick succession, you aren't going to get completely clobbered. So I do like it for that reason. Makes it a little bit easier for us to get up close and personal. And so let's stick with this for now. It is one of, if not my favorite, of the keepsakes. The other things we can do here are that we can sell
Worth giving up.
some of our boons or obols if we feel like that is worthwhile. And so if we, say, don't like the Drunken Strike, or we feel like we'd rather have 60 obols, we could do that. Hydraulic Might, the extra damage at the beginning of the encounter, or our stronger attack. I think those are all things that have been working pretty well for us thus far, so let's hold on to those. Then this is a Well of Charon, and it gives us some smaller options in terms of upgrades, these being the other items of sorts that tend to last a few chambers, giving us the ability to restore a little bit of HP, get a random item from the well. This is a relatively new item, and also could ensure that a Chaos Gate spawns. Of course, we've seen one and got some pretty powerful upgrades from that, so I'm thinking that could be worth picking up here. Generally speaking, the earlier you can make that happen, the better. And then maybe we also get a random item here and see what we get.
I'll take this one.
Got the Centaur Soul, which, if I recall, is maximum HP, but it does not increase your current HP. So you'll see that we are currently on 125 out of 150. Normally, when you pick up max HP, it would also increase your current HP. So now let's head out of here.
Up we go.
Up we go indeed. So that previous area was Tartarus, and Meg was the boss of that area. So now we will move into
Hot up here.
Asphodel. Get a little bit of coins there. And let's just admire the scenery, perhaps.
Wasn't this whole expanse once lush and green?
Oh, well, that's certainly changed. So, oh, I stepped in lava momentarily there, so we took 1 damage. I think we'll be okay, though. So, we could go into the coin room. However, we did, of course, purchase the guaranteed Chaos Encounter.
Alright.
So let's duck down here. And hope that we get something on the order of the power that we saw in the previous go-round, because that was quite useful for us, and we could also, say, gift one of our nectars, the Chaos here.
This is for you, Master Chaos. Everyone beneath the heavens and earth enjoys this stuff.
As for you, though, do you?
You honor me in making such an offering. But please, it is not necessary to endear yourself using material means, for it is the thought alone which counts.
No. That's sweet. Okay. Now let's take the actual boon, and some high rarity ones at that. So we could have it such that every time we cast, we take damage, but afterwards we get additional coins. We did, of course, initially take a Chaos Boon that prevented us from gaining coins earlier on, and so that was only temporary, and this might be a way to sort of counteract that. Otherwise, oh boy. More attack damage? That's very tempting. For the first 3 encounters, though, we will have foes drop Inferno Bombs after we defeat them, so basically, they'll blow up when we take him out. That is, yeah, that one seems to kind of be calling our name right now. Otherwise, again, we could opt to not be able to gain coins for the next 4 encounters, but afterward we would gain plus 54 maximum HP. So, I think all these can be very good, yes, but in the name of having a bit of an idea behind this build here, oh, and apparently we've now fulfilled a prophecy as well, a couple of them at that, or fulfilled one, and another one foretold. Basically, those are sort of like secondary quests that give us additional bonuses when we complete them. And we have the additional damage at the beginning of this encounter, which means we want to try to get these guys as soon as possible. And ASPHODEL, as you may have predicted, he's a big fiery pit of lava.
Who's next?
So don't step in that lava, because we did, of course, take a little bit of damage earlier. And you see, those are the Inferno bombs dropping when we take those people out. And some new enemies here, of course. Initially, we saw a variation on the witches that we saw in Tartarus, so those guys aren't too new here, but this guy certainly is. If you haven't noticed, there is a cloud, or rather, a shadow that is hovering over our head, and it was that guy there who was waiting to drop down on our head. Some dispute as to whether that was a head or a hoof, but I'll let you guys figure that one out. Okay, so a new god here that we've not yet seen. That being Hermes, of course.
Seeing as the mortal folk up here keep dying off, and someone's got to bring their souls down to your domain now, don't they?
I suppose so. Okay, so we can have rapid casting. We can have, after we dash, we briefly get faster and make it so that we take less damage and can't be interrupted with our actions. Or, again, the little icon here, the scroll, means that we've not yet taken this. Means that foes will drop the bloodstones that are sucking them faster. So normally what would happen is we would hit them with our cast, and they would basically be holding on to our bloodstone, meaning that we wouldn't have the ability to use it until we actually defeat the enemy. After a certain amount of time, they would ultimately drop it. It's I think typically about a 10-second delay, so it is a while if you don't have, say, this ability here, which I believe roughly cuts it in half, that duration. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the strongest option for us here, because we, of course, are scaling primarily our attack damage. But in the name of picking up the scroll, let's do it here.
Haste of Hermes.
So, we now have this room here and this room here. This has the coin pouch that we've skipped on a couple of occasions, whereas this one has... I don't think we've seen this yet. Have we? Actually, I think we have. This being a Palm of Power, upgrading one of our abilities. Is there anything else in this room, though, before we head out? Just want to double-check real quick, because these rooms in Tartarus, or rather, these rooms in ASPHODEL are a little bit bigger than they were in Tartarus, generally speaking.
Moving on.
Okay, what do we have here? Remember, we want to go fast. These guys, I did briefly step into the lava there. Still get our extra damage in there. I think for a moment we did. Now it's expired, though. I think we got rid of roughly half the enemies in this area at the time, though. Which amounted to still a very quick clear. Taking a bit of damage here, though.
Delicious.
So we get to choose which ability we upgrade this time around. And we could go for our attack, which would, of course, increase the damage on our attack, which is, of course, the theme that we're going with here. Or we could have it such that both our attack and our special get more damage in the first 10 seconds. This is only the first 10 seconds, of course. It does apply to both the attack and the special, but just looking at the numbers here, that's a 10% boost, whereas this is more than a 10% boost. This is only 10 seconds. This is for the entirety of the time in the room. I think we go this route. And, ooh, that is the first time we've heard that bell sound there. And what does it mean, you ask?
I see a fish.
It means that there's a fish over here. Fishing, you ask? Yes, fishing indeed. One moment here while I attempt to actually take said fish. Come on, those are false alarms until the real one there. Pick up a crustacean. And so we can, ooh, almost get caught on fire there. And turn that in at the end of the run. So let's head over here, and I don't yet think that we've seen this person. Also had the little skull beneath that indicator, meaning that this will be a challenging area.
Lose a spine out there.
Is it perhaps the spine of the world? This being the Barge of Death. Remember, first few seconds of the encounter, we're going to want to deal as much damage as we can. Unfortunately, that guy decided to hang out next to some exploding stuff. Made it a little bit difficult to do just that. And so, the red life bars are, of course, life bars, but you may have seen that there are some enemies that also have a orangish-yellow life bar, like this. That is armor. Basically is an additional health bar, but it is a little bit different in that enemies cannot be stunned when they have armor on them, which is important, because normally, that would be one of our best forms of defense, is actually making sure that enemies cannot attack back when we are wailing on them with our combos.
Hello, Lord Ares.
But there we go. We've completed the Barge of Death. I don't actually think we took any damage, or if we did, it was very little. And, notably, we also got an additional Chaos Boon to evolve here. We now have the 70% damage on top of the 74 that we already had, on top of the 92 that we have here. So, the attack damage, it's rolling in.
You bear the blessing of Athena, yes? She would protect you from your enemies, whilst I would rather that you slay them and be done.
Alright, Ares, what do you have for us then?
Oh, yes.
So, a few interesting things here. We can upgrade our cast, turn it into a Blade Rift, and deal 22 damage per hit with that. We have not yet taken a call. We were talking about this previously, this being the super ability of Source that charges up over the course of a room. And this one turns us into an Impervious Blade Rift. Or we can have it so that after using a Death Defiance, we deal more damage in that encounter, 30% increased damage. Death Defiances are these little indicators down here in the bottom left corner. Basically, if we were to drop to 0 HP in a room, we would be able to revive of sorts. And when we do that, we get additional damage in that specific room, if we were to take this boon. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any additional damage. I think, let's make a point, though, picking up the Aid. I am a pretty big fan of Ares' Aid, and it is also a relatively high-rarity version. Okay, what do we have here? Again, we want to be fast.
Wait, Magus.
Take you guys out.
Give it up.
None of that, please. You guys come up quickly enough for us to get the extra damage? Not sure if it was. Okay, here are some new enemies as well. These guys will duck underground and then shoot projectiles at us that actually home.
Place is crawling with these.
And these guys, the red ones, will shoot giant waves at us. Which we did deflect one back in its face a minute ago. Like that. I find that they are typically a little bit difficult because they have quite a lot of range on that ability there. You guys will throw the explosives at us. Some gems from this room. Lee took a little bit of damage there, especially if we get stuck in the lava there, which for a second there looked like was going to happen. Thought I heard something else in this room.
Which way?
Ah, so this is another pool of purging. So again, we could have the option of, say, selling an ability if we didn't particularly like it. As I was saying before, I don't necessarily think the quick reload is super helpful for us here because it is most directly tied to using casts, and we have not done much at this point in time to scale our cast ability. So you could perhaps make a case for selling this here. Let's hold on to it for now. Anything else, though? I don't think so. So that means we could go either for the life or the palm to upgrade one of our abilities further. I think let's go for the life because we're only on roughly half HP here. It's been a while since we had any source of healing, and well, right on cue. Let's pick up 25 max life, and also some life restoration. Just in the nick of time. So, next we have one of these rooms here. We've passed on several times. What is it, you ask? Well, for all you veterans, you are of course saying, well, it's a shop, of course. With none other than Charon as the shopkeeper.
Couldn't agree more, mate.
Exactly. Okay, so, what do we do this time? We could purchase another boon from Athena for 150 obols, which we do have enough. We have, what, 230 at the moment? We could get more gems, or we could get a random pomegranate upgrade. Basically, unlike the full-blown palms that we got in a previous room where we could choose between 3 options. This one will be a random upgrade. So I think we perhaps go this route here.
Tart and tasty.
And we got Ares' aid to level up. This one here. So I think that is a good pickup for sure. And then we could also afford this boon here. So we could either save up and use that on a future occasion, or just say the sooner the better. So why not? The sooner the better. Let's do it.
Family do not yet fully understand just how precarious your situation is, cousin. My Lord Dionysus here, he goes about as though this is a festive matter of some sort.
Is that so?
Come on, Athena, girl, you really mean to tell me that discovering a long-lost relative isn't a cause for celebrating right away? I mean, you can't be telling me a thing like that. Because if Zag isn't a cause for feasting, I don't know what is.
Alright, and what's the deal here? We purchased an Athena boon and now we're seeing Dionysus? Well, that's because this is a rare duo boon, which, yes, is a combination between an Athena boon and a Dionysus boon. A super powerful ability at that. Your foe's ranged attack projectiles are slower. Interesting. And, I mean, we gotta take this one. So, should make it a lot easier for us to dodge or even deflect those abilities, because remember, we can deflect them with our default attack here. So, also, things look a little bit dramatic in this room here. Might that be because, oh, I don't know, perhaps the room that we're about to head into is something like, say,
Changed up your look again, have you, Hydra?
the next boss fight. Here is Lerny, our Hydra pal. Lerny is... Oh, remember, we still have the extra damage at the beginning of the encounter, which we might have perhaps been able to take more advantage of there. Against boss fights, that's going to be probably the time in which it is most difficult to take advantage of it, because, well, of course, bosses have a lot of HP, and therefore not going to be able to take them out as early as we might want to. We're going to have much of the fight in which we will not have that bonus damage. Still one more head here. So the Hydra, of course, has the main head, as we saw before, but as Hydras do, does spawn additional heads. Once we take out those additional heads, the main head should be attackable once more, as is the case here. And Lerny here is creating a bunch of areas that we are not going to want to stand in. However, already we've dealt our fair share of damage to it, so next phase, how many of these little heads are there is a very good question at that. We'll take out some of them here. So the colors of the heads are significant. It dictates what skills those heads have. So the slightly off-green ones that you see here, of which there are multiple, will spawn allies. By allies, I mean allies to the Hydra. These here, we don't get rid of those little spawners, then little friends will come up to join the Hydra heads. These ones here are sort of the default heads of sorts. They'll just attack us. And we do have a fully charged call right around now. So we could do this and turn into that Blade Rift and use this to absolutely annihilate Lerny here. So that's what that looks like.
Don't come back.
Turn into an impervious Blade Rift. You're asking, what the heck does that mean? That's what it means. Quite literally, turn into a circle of blades. We are no longer a human being, or demigod, or full-blown god, really, for that matter. So up we go. That being the boss of Asphodel, the fiery region. And so, no need to heal, but sure, we'll heal no less. Any other things for us to interact with here, or just appreciate what this place looks like? It is so cool. Okay, so once more, we'll have the option of swapping over to a different keepsake. Like I said, I am a big fan of Broken Spear Point, so I think I'm going to stick with that for the time being. We could, well, if we had Obols, say, pick up more of these things here and perhaps guarantee another Chaos Gate, because they have been so effective for us. If we were to get rid of a boon, then we would be able to afford it, yes, but the options that we have here will change every time, and of course we do see the duo boon that we just picked up, which is, as I said, extremely rare and extremely powerful, and naturally is worth a lot, but probably not something that we particularly want to get rid of for that reason. Ares' aid, as we saw in the previous room, is extremely powerful when we can get it to charge up. And Drunken Dash is subtle, but I think also quite effective as well. So, I think, as tempting as it is to try to find a way to pick this up for a guaranteed Chaos Gate, circumstances are such that we cannot do that without getting rid of something that we would very much like.
Next region.
So hopefully, we'll find that we'll be able to pick up some more coins in the future, and if there is another occasion on which that item pops up, we might be able to pick it up. But we head on up here into the next area.
Another day or night in paradise.
That being Elysium.
Lots of exalted shades between me and the exit.
Okay. Admire the beauty, yes. And now let's head on out. And we could, in fact, make a point of picking up more coins here. Or we could make a point of picking up an upgrade to one of our abilities. Let's get some coins, because we are quite low on them at the moment. Okay, and here we have some flame wheels, which are, well, enemies that blow up. And they can, of course, deal damage when that happens. Does make things a little bit difficult when we have relatively short range, but with our sword. So we are going to want to use our cast pretty aggressively here. Also, our poison from our dash, the purple circles you're seeing behind us, those will help as well. I walked straight into that. Could also make a point of deflecting these abilities here, which, you know, we also may perhaps walk into on occasion. But with just you left, not much of a problem here. And you see that, yes, those are definitely going much slower than they did in the past, so all the more reason for us to be able to dodge or deflect them. Thought I heard... Yes. A trove. This one for coins as well, so remember, this will spawn additional enemies. The more quickly we take them out, the more coins we will get, because this number will go down as time goes on. So speed is definitely the name of the game here. Ooh, and some new enemies that we've not yet seen as well. Let's just say, let's get rid of these guys that look like eyeballs as soon as possible. That is rather important. Okay, down they go.
They had their chance.
I think we took a little bit more damage in the process, but picked up, of course, over 100 coins, so hopefully we'll find that that trade-off is worthwhile. I don't think there's anything else in this room here. Let's head on out, and it is a hammer room next. We did, of course, pick up the hammer upgrade earlier that made it so that our dash strikes were more powerful, which, admittedly, I haven't really been making much of a conscious effort of doing, but that is probably something we could do to improve our damage, because it was a fairly significant upgrade, and I'm kind of hoping that our poison, yeah, just takes care of you. Because we would like to have this back, at least. Blow you up that way. And I thought I saw, yes, this guy here is one of those other types of enemies that we saw ever so briefly in the other encounter. One of those shades that we heard Zagreus talking about a little bit. This being another kind. They are basically enemies that are very similar to us, and that they have weapons of their own. And we'll use those weapons rather aggressively. Some of them have bows and will hit us from range, others swords. And when you take them out, they will turn into those eyeballs. Ooh, those guys blew up in our face. And if you allow those eyeballs to stay alive, then they will actually respawn. And so you want to make a point of taking them out quickly for that reason. Here's the hammer, though. With everyone down, that means we can take this. And we can have our attack become a big chop that deals 90 base damage, that being much higher than our normal attack. Or we can have our attack deal plus 300% damage to armor. Remember, as we were saying before, armor is the yellowish-orange life bar that some enemies will have, and once you deplete the armor, then it goes down to their red life bar, their actual life. Or we can hold the attack button to strike rapidly, but deal only 25 base damage per hit. So these are basically polar opposites. World Splitter being the slow, hard-hitting base damage. Flurry Slash being the quick, low base damage route. And then Breaching Slash being the additional damage specifically to armor. This is a bit of a tough one. I would say this is probably the most consistent with what we've been doing thus far, and that it hopefully means that one, maybe two attacks might be enough to take out many enemies here. But in some ways, it feels like we have enough damage as it is, and don't necessarily need to have such high base damage, but let's give this a shot.
Fixed up.
I'm hoping that, since much of our damage scaling at the moment is percentage-based, having a higher base amount of damage should be a pretty big difference maker here. And so we now know these are shops. We have 311 obols at the moment, which is a somewhat sizable amount. Or we could go here, which is Hermes. And those are both pretty strong options. We still don't have any cast or special upgrades at the moment, and, well, I suppose we do have a small upgrade of sorts of that variety from Hermes, wherever it went. When we picked up this here, the quick reload, to allow us to pick up our bloodstones a little bit more quickly when we shoot our casts. But nothing in terms of direct damage on our cast. So, for that reason, that might be a reason to try to pick something up from the shop if there's going to be a boon there. But we don't necessarily know what we're going to find. So I think we go for Hermes here. Shops are a little bit more common, I'd say.
The fates are being kind, I guess.
And the fates are, in fact, being kind. This is, yes,
In the name of
a
Hades.
free Hermes boon, but also some life restoration. So we did see the hyper sprint option before, I believe probably a lower rarity version, this being an epic rarity version, which I suppose I brushed over a little bit here, but the boons that are in white text are normal rarity, the ones in blue text are rare rarity, and the ones in purple are epic. We saw on one occasion a duo boon, which has sort of the light green color, and so that basically dictates how rare the boon is. And most boons have the option of coming in the normal, rare, epic, and actually technically heroic rarity as well, though that one is a little bit more complicated to pick up, and that just dictates how strong they are. So for that reason, that means that this hyper sprint is likely stronger than the one that we saw before. I think the difference is probably the sprint duration being 0.7 seconds this time, whereas it might have been 0.5 or 0.6 earlier. That's one option. It is the highest rarity, and therefore it's tempting. However, what are the other alternatives? We can restore some HP after dashing, or after using a call, we can gain dodge and move speed for 10 seconds. So normally that might be interesting, because our call is, remember, our big super ability. And the thing is, though, with the one that we currently have, which is coming from Ares, we are turning into an impervious blade rift, and that means that we already can't take damage, so having additional dodge chance doesn't really help us, because we're invulnerable. And the movement speed does help us when we are a blade rift to make a point of attacking the people that we want to be attacking in case they run away from us. But I feel like that's maybe not the best fit for our current setup here. So maybe we do go for something like hyper sprint here.
That's Godspeed, all
And to
right.
show you what that means, yes, when we dash, it means we have a pretty significant speed boost soon thereafter. And this is what our normal attack looks like now. It is much slower, yes, but the damage should be much higher. That coming from the hammer upgrade that we just picked up. There is the life restoration, because this was a life chamber room. And here we have either Athena or Dionysus, and you see that skull means this is a mini-boss room of sorts. So, what is our preference here? Let's actually go for Athena, because I think there are some things here we've not yet picked up that are perhaps a little bit more consistent with our build that I think Athena can help us out with. There is the damage. I need to be a little more cautious of the timing of our attacks, because we can't just spam the attack button anymore with our slower attacks. They are stronger, yes, but if you whiff on that first hit, it means our enemy is probably gonna, well, be able to hit us in return. And that crystalline-looking creature there created a shield for these guys, so important to take those out early. Yeah.
Athena.
I don't know if I'm a big fan of the hammer upgrade that we picked up. Like I said, personally, I'm not a huge fan of having slower attacks, because I think we kind of had a good setup already. It does mean that our individual attacks will be doing more damage, so hopefully it does pay off.
Olympus, I accept this
But it's going to make it harder to dodge things. Okay, so here we can have a cast upgrade. Like I was saying before, we had not picked up any of those just yet, but this could be a way to do that. It will add deflection and some additional damage. We could swap out our... Ooh, this is an interesting one. So what this does is it would swap out our existing Drunken Dash ability, which we have upgraded once, this being our primary source of poison that we got from Dionysus early on, instead for an Athena Dash, which gives us the ability to deflect on dash, which is normally one of, if not the best dashes, because having the ability to deflect projectiles when you're dashing, when dash is already a skill that you're using to get out of the way of harm, is really helpful. However, offensively, Drunken Dash is probably still better. So it's an interesting question of, would you rather prioritize defense or offense? I think we do have a lot of offense on our attack setup here, but with this here, in addition to a couple of boons from Chaos to deal additional attack damage. So I think we probably would be better served than the Divine Dash here. Tough choice. Of course, you'd rather not have to sacrifice an ability to get a new one. But I think on this occasion it is a slight upgrade. Here's a little well in which we could restore a little bit of life, and we have taken a bit of damage, so there's perhaps something to be said for that. Or we could deal extra damage when striking undamaged foes. That would be quite helpful, seeing as how, again, we've been scaling our attack damage, and now we are slow but harder hitting. Therefore, we want it to be basically such that we are dealing as much damage as possible on our first hit. This would be a way of making that happen. Or just increasing our attack damage across the board for 6 encounters on either occasion. That's tempting for both of those. Let's just take a quick look at what's coming up next. We could have another Dionysus mini-boss room. We passed on the previous one. Went for this Athena room instead. Or we could go for Poseidon instead. Let's give this a shot. Let's pick up both.
Worth it.
Maybe. I think I'm fairly confident with where we stand from a life standpoint. Don't think we need that right now. Let's go into the mini-boss. Show you what that's all about. There are a few different things we could see here. This time around, well, no big deal. It's just the Bowl of Minos.
Which means that I have little hope of vanquishing you here.
Okay.
So then why bother fighting me? You don't have to do this. Theseus has a highly questionable influence on you.
Yeah, we don't need to fight, right?
I see you playing, short one. I too was born of darkness, but I chose the path of light. Even in death, it was not too late.
Yeah, but like, maybe.
For monsters such as I trust your deaths will likewise be enlightening.
Okay, sounds like we don't have much choice in the matter. And remember, extra damage at the beginning. We want to do that. And the Bowl of Minos is a big, hard-hitting bowl. Surprise, surprise. You saw the extra damage. Let's make a point of getting in there. And that was actually about a third of his HP there in damage. So he's a slow hitter, or a strong hitter, actually somewhat similar to us in that way. First phase down here. Now he'll attack a little more aggressively. Has some waves at the end of his axe swings. But for the most part, we just want to, you know, duck a hit by that. Not quite range that time. But there we have it. The damage, turns out, is good.
I'm glad we've made a habit of it thus.
So in some ways, I think that might actually work to our favor in that this is another relatively slow attacking enemy, so makes it easier to fit in our slow attacks of our own. And he walks right through us to leave. Okay. Well fought. Well fought.
Oh, Dionysus.
And this does, of course, give us the Dionysus boon,
I accept this message.
from which we have lots of epic options here. We could get the cast that we have passed up on a few occasions here. We have it such that if we finish an encounter with low HP, we get back up to 45% HP, so it's a way of making sure that you don't finish a room on like 1 or 2 life, you go up to 45%, which would be quite helpful right about now. Or, could make it so that whenever we pick up a nectar, we gain maximum HP, and we get a nectar right now. This one can be very good, but is most helpful early on in a run, because then you can make a point of getting more nectar. We're relatively far along at this point, and so that means that this is probably a little bit too late to take full advantage of this. Could still make it happen, yes, but I think, probably do want to say, go with the trippy shot here, because this is really strong. It creates a festive fog, which for 5 seconds will create some wafting fumes that will briefly stun foes in an area, and that is a way to help us out, getting in some of our big slow attacks, so I think that will work well. I don't think there's anything else in here for us. So let's get going. Oh!
I hear something.
I do too.
I find you here.
Death approaches. It's Thanatos.
Made it out. No matter.
He's, our friend? With a little bit of an asterisk there. He's a weird way of showing his friendship. So basically what this is this will be us competing against Thanatos to see who can get more kills here in a specified amount of time. Or, well, basically, until the end of this encounter. And he did take that one out there. So he's, talk about slow, he's extremely slow with his attacks. However, deals basically the maximum amount of damage. I'm gonna let you take the shield guy, because that is probably just a waste of our time. Oh, except, well, he turned into an eyeball that we might have been able to still take out, so maybe that was worthwhile. So you can see the kill counter in the top left corner of the screen. See who's winning. So hopefully, we find that we are doing a fairly good job there. Please not take that one. Oh, that one is regenerating. Well, didn't quite take care of it in time. There we go. And yes, we beat him handily. That's good to see. We'll take the coins. And Thanatos says...
You've gotten stronger, Zag.
Says congratulations for winning, and gives us additional max HP. We could even give him a nectar.
Why bother with such empty gestures, Zag? You've said you're getting out of here. Best focus on that and leave me be.
So Thanatos, in some ways, is, yes, helping us escape by helping us defeat these enemies here. He just has an odd way of expressing that sometimes.
It's not an empty gesture, then. Besides, if I wasn't trying to stay focused, I'd be drinking it myself.
Just a little cold is all. As for our actual conversation with him...
Listen to me. I don't know how else to put this, but I want you to come home, voluntarily. It's not just you swept up in all this nonsense now, and I know you didn't ask for me to get involved, but what did you expect?
See, he put it upon himself to help us out.
Fan, home is never going to be the same for me. There's no use trying to pretend. I have to go.
You don't have to do anything of the sort. You have no idea how good you've had it here. Maybe someday you'll come to understand.
He just wants us to stay.
There he goes.
Okay, so the Thanatos appearance,
Hey, money.
it is random, but can of course happen every now and then, so good to see him. We do have another pool of purging here, meaning that we could sell all their boons if we felt the need or desire. We do have a pretty sizable amount of coins at this point, though. We're at 410, so I don't think we need to do that at this stage. And we do have here the option of either picking up a palm to upgrade abilities, or doing this here, which has notably 2 signs on it, this being Athena, this being Ares. What's the deal here? Well, you see, the deal is
I have to pick a side.
that it's a trial of the gods. So, we have to choose our favorite between these two. We could say, choose Athena, or choose Ares. And let's just say, the one that we don't pick is not going to be terribly pleased with us for choosing the other. So, is there someone who we feel like we most need the assistance of at this point in time? I'd say we could, say, make a point of choosing Athena here, maybe?
Thank you, Zacharias.
Meaning that we'll get a boon from Athena now, which could be that we resist damage from foes' attacks 7%, which is not a lot, but does apply across the board, which is kind of nice. Or we could have it that our abilities that deflect also make foes exposed, meaning that for 5 seconds they will take damage when struck from behind, take more damage when struck from behind. They already take a little bit more damage from it. And what with our high attack damage, that could mean that, again, we are just taking people out almost immediately. So that is tempting. Could also have a special upgrade. Of course, it's been a very long time, and yet we have not yet picked up one of those. However, for the most part, like we were saying, it seems like attack is the primary thing we're trying to scale here. That is the main thing that we are scaling the damage on. So I'm thinking this is a way to make that happen and further increase it. But as I was saying, Ares, he's not going to take too kindly to that.
Just then, perhaps you knew that you were making a mistake. No matter, you'll learn now.
So, we have an encounter against enemies, yes. However, Ares is also going to be participating in this fight here a little bit. You can see those circles there, in which we would take damage if we were to walk into them. So, let's maybe not do that, or at least try not to. Okay. And that was actually a very quick encounter there, so no problem. And now, maybe Ares will forgive us.
Impressively back there. Though you are fortunate I'm in a giving mood.
Oh, why thank you. So now we will get this boon, and from this we can get that special upgrade that we were talking about, or have it so we deal a little bit more damage across the board for attack, special, and cast. Or make it so that after we take damage, we inflict Doom on foes around us. And Doom is Ares' thing. It is a curse of sorts, in that after a brief moment, victims will take a burst of damage. It is delayed damage, basically. We inflict the Doom, there's a short delay, and then it hits really hard after that. So, generally speaking, it'll have higher damage than most other boon options. It's just that that additional delay makes it so that it's not the most straightforward to apply that damage. So, what would we like to do here? Do we want to get some of that Doom, or would we say rather just have a little bit of damage to add on to our current attack? And I'm thinking probably is the way to go. Again, that's the damage that we're scaling right now. And from here, is there anything else in this room that we should take note of? Not sure if I see anything of that sort. So, next off we have keys or darkness. He does have a skull next to it, theoretically, meaning that might be a little bit more difficult. But we are a little bit low on HP here, and darkness can give us some of that. But I think for that reason, it might make sense for us to go this route. You see, huge damage is, yes, huge. Taking people out pretty quickly here. Want to get rid of that eyeball before it respawns, though. Same here. As for you, you're down. Another wave or more enemies here. Okay, gotcha. And these are the traps in Elysium here. Those spear dudes basically will, well, shoot their spears out at you, or stab their spears at you. Trying to get rid of these eyeballs, but yeah, they're kind of spreading out pretty well here, making it a little bit more difficult to do that. Thought we saw one over here that may have respawned. There is the Festive Fog that we've yet to use, but does that stun, which can't help out. Oh, you just attacked us through that wall there. That was not cool. And we did have a fair bit of our call meter charged up, so we could have used that there. But for the most part, what I'm looking for here is a way to restore a little bit of HP. So using a life essence, for example, could be useful. Ooh. That is tempting. We have a lot of coins here, notably. We have almost 500 obols. Let's just take a quick peek at, yeah, if we're, say, about to run into a shop, in which case maybe we do want to hold on to some of those. But I do see some tempting things from this well here. First and foremost being the life restoration. I think we probably do want to take this.
Should help keep me going.
Then, these are interesting questions here. You get a random item from the well. Of course, we don't know what that's going to be, but that could be useful. Oh, we do still have, I forgot about, the extra damage from the Cyclops Jerky, which was giving us plus 30% attack damage. Still is, but only is going to last for 2 more encounters. And then the Air Spangle, more damage to undamaged foes. So, across these two things, that's partially why we were dealing such exorbitant amounts of damage. So we could, perhaps, pick this up here and maybe even get another round of these guys and increase the duration on them. That could be helpful. Or make it so that we start encounters with our Gauge Gauge 15% full, meaning that, well, charges up more quickly, or at least we can use it earlier on in an encounter, which is certainly helpful. So both these things are tempting. That costs only 15. Let's pick that up. I think this is a little bit more of a gamble, yes, but we're still, even after this, we would be at above 400 obols, so let's do it.
What do I get?
And we get the Yarn of Ariadne, which increases the rarity of the next boon that we find, which can be a very valuable thing to pick up, and usually I believe costs about 70 obols, so that is also a bit of a bargain that we picked it up for there. So we could pick up HP, which, like I was saying, was at least at one point a primary concern, or go to the shop. And the shop is tempting, yes, but I think shops are a little bit easier to come by. So let's go with the HP here. And it is, actually, I believe we'll find the last room in here for the boss fight.
Much better.
So good timing. Let's pick that up there. And it does also mean, and notably, we will still have the effects of Cyclops Jerky and Aerospangle. And Yarn of Ariadne is at least not at the moment going to do anything, but the Ethernet as well will all be in effect for this here. What is this fight?
Gentlemen.
Well, there's a familiar face, of course, along with Theseus.
He holds the Yarn of Ariadne and would flaunt it in our faces.
Perhaps.
What, this? I just picked it out of a well. It was supposed to help me get here. No offense intended, more than usual. What's it to you?
Yeah, what's the matter? You got a history with that?
As if you wouldn't know.
Perhaps
That
so.
yarn is a token of days long gone, when Asterius and I battled in the labyrinth to the death. Together we now face a greater threat. Attack us if you dare.
Alright, bring it on. High damage at the beginning of the encounter, yes. Try to take advantage of that. There are two people here, of course. Theseus and the Minotaur, which is fitting. Theseus already at half HP, notably. He has had his first phase of sorts. Let's make a point of casting on top of these guys, giving them a bit of a stun. And so Theseus there, as you saw for a minute, will throw his spear at us. Minotaur will do the same types of things that we saw him doing before. And Minotaur is down. So just Theseus now. I really wanted to try to stun you there, but you ran away. Okay, where'd you go? Now you are mad at us. And well, the thing about Theseus is that he also can have the favor of the gods. Fortunately, at least for a moment there, he's just kind of standing still. Good opportunity for us to deal some damage. Let's try and stun him again. Doesn't really stop him from using that attack there, though. There he is. Down he goes. The damage is good.
That'll just shut him up.
Maybe that'll shut him up. So we ultimately didn't even need to use our call there, because the attack is just so strong.
Supportive shade.
And we have a single fan in the crowd here. Just one red shade over there. Thanks, man. And that extra darkness that we got from them was actually enough for us to become full HP here. So, I mean, we will still have the option to restore from this well here. It's just not really going to do anything. So then, we could, once more, say, sell a boon. This time around, we had the option to get rid of a little bit of damage. The cast, or that blinding flash from our abilities to deflect, making them exposed. I think all these things they aren't the primary things that are helping us out, so you could perhaps make a point to sell them, but I'm pretty okay with them right now. Let's take a look at the well. Centaur Soul, this is one of the items that we picked up earlier that had or that we got from one of the mystery items from the shop. So if it normally costs 100 obols, and we picked it up for, I believe it was 45, then we got a bit of a bargain there as well. Make it so that our cast damage goes up, or our attack damage. Like I was saying before, this is pretty great for us right now. We are very close to having our existing Cyclops Jerky run out, so this might be a good time to restock on that. As well as the Centaur Soul, I think both those things are probably worthwhile here. So let's do that. And then we could also swap off a keepsake. I think that the Broken Spear Point, like I said, I'm a big fan of it. The Evergreen Acorn is also good late game as well, but I think, as you can see here, Evergreen Acorn is currently a rank 1 item, whereas Broken Spear Point is currently rank 3, meaning that the Spear Point at the moment is a little bit stronger, because we've used it more often. Nothing else to check out here. Let's head on up.
I'm almost out of here.
And we're getting close. So that was Elysium there. Theseus and Asterius being the bosses of that area.
I'm sure the saints are back.
So the Temple of Styx, here we come. This area leading into the Temple of Styx seemingly always has a bunch of coins and golden urns right around here. It's important to make a point trying to break those. And part of the reason, I was talking before about trying to save up some of our obols previously, was because, well, here we have a super shop of sorts where we can buy many, many things, including but not limited to super palms, boons, extra HP. This is actually a remove 1 hammer upgrade to pick up 2 different hammer upgrades, random ones though, so a bit of a risk in that you are, yes, gaining more, but you don't know what kind. Are they going to be helpful? Are they not going to be so helpful? You don't know. Or alternatively, a diamond, which is a item that we use for unlocking additional things, doesn't directly affect us on this specific run, and is also, of course, very expensive. Nothing for Charon to say to us here. And, also, yeah,
On duty, huh?
Cerberus is, well, blocking us. So, What we need to do is find a way to get Cerberus to move out of the way. In order to do that, we will need to go down some of these side routes over here. We have options in terms of which one we might want to do. Well, we could, of course, pick up some more obols, and that would make it so that we'd have the option of purchasing more things here. Not necessarily sure what we're going to want to do in this regard at the moment. Like I said, I mean, this can be amazing if you get really lucky and happen to pick up a hammer upgrade or two that are useful for the things that you're doing. Our current hammer upgrade, as a reminder, actually we do have two of them. We have World Splitter that is giving us that high base attack damage with the slow attack. And we have Double Edge, which is giving us the additional damage with our dash strike. So, we could lose either one of these. We don't know which if we were to pick this one, because remember, it's a random hammer upgrade that we lose, and we gain 2 random ones. So, I don't know. I was a little bit on the fence regarding our slow, heavy-hitting damage on the hammer upgrade, our more recent of the two. But maybe, in time, it does seem like it's been working out for us. The damage has been pretty fantastic. So maybe we pass on that, and therefore that means, what are we trying to save up for? Do we get life and Poseidon, maybe? Or do we save up for a big Dionysus boon or a super palm, upgrading an ability twice? Maybe we wait just a little while longer here and go for the obols and see just how many coins we're gonna have. Some new enemies here, of course, including ones that shoot laser beams at us. They're gone now, though. And so these rooms are a little bit different. They are little short rooms. Oh, and these guys here can poison us, and therefore are actually my least favorite enemies in the entire game. What happens is, if they hit you with their projectile-based attack, they basically shoot a poison dart at you, then you have to go to this cure over here. This will be in a different area in each room. So you need to track it down. If and when you do get poisoned, make a point of going over there. It's like, here's another one of those poisoning enemies, and he hits us with that ability there. That will do it. And like there, the cure was hiding in the corner. I didn't even see where it was. I was looking for it. But it was trying to avoid us. Some big rats as well. You can stun them, and they will create some, well, poisony ground next to them. That is not really something I wanted to see there. A projectile that was going to hit us from afar. Now, we dash through the poison. I tried to, but we actually stepped in that poison the rat was creating there, so similar idea. Just instead of a poison projectile, the rats create that poison crown. But they were kind of stuck on the other side, and we didn't have a lot of range here. Didn't have many options. Okay, so this is the final room in this direction, meaning that it will be a little bit bigger. We'll have these enemies in it, and I'm not a fan, as I said before, of these enemies here called satyrs. Unfortunately, we used our extra damage at the beginning of the encounter to take them out. There are traps in here. Traps that trigger when we step on those pads over here, and they make those big axes drop from the ceiling. We do have our God Gauge filled a bit. Generally speaking, this is just a personal preference, but I do like to try to fill that up completely before actually using it. So if you're wondering, why is that filling up and Lids isn't using it, that is the reason why. And typically that means in big rooms like this, waiting for if there's like a really strong enemy at the end, and so like, we could have used it on that last guy there, but ultimately didn't really seem all that necessary. So we could get back up to actually more than full HP here. Oh, well, yeah, that seems like a decent option. Could load up on even more Cyclops Jerky. The thing about this area is that it does blow through your items very quickly. These ones that last a certain number of encounters, because all those mini rooms that we were talking about earlier, they do count as encounters individually. That means that for that reason we are already almost out of the Cyclops Jerky that we purchased previously. So we could restore some life, yes. I think that is probably a good idea here.
Should be handy.
That gets us up to full. We could also get Fateful Twist for the random item. What's it going to be? Centaur Soul? Oh, theoretically we should have done that in a slightly different order. Centaur Soul gave us the max HP, but not the current HP, so you see that we have gone up to a maximum of 275, but we're still on 250 current HP. If we've done that in the opposite order and improved our maximum HP, then we might have been able to restore enough HP to get up to our maximum or closer to it. Then we could also pick up the damage on the Jerky, and that will blow through our coins pretty quickly if we pick those up every time we see them. So I'm a little hesitant to do that every single time, but as we have seen, it is quite good, so it does seem to be making a difference. It's just that we spent a lot there, and that may mean that we don't really have any more coins than we had previously when we were looking at our options here. We could say, make a point of picking up more max HP here. Might be a reasonable time for us to do that.
I could use this.
In case we do find any other ways to restore HP. There is also a fishing point here. So let's make a point of fishing it. Ooh, it's a quick one.
I caught a scuffer.
Okay. So again, we will turn those in at the end of the run and get some stuff from that. And as for what, if anything, we want to do here, like I was saying, I think we probably want to pass on this. And therefore that means that we are really close to being able to afford a Super Palm that will upgrade an ability 2 levels, or just get more abilities from Poseidon like this. I think we'll probably wait a little bit longer for that. And this time round, we could say, just get a boon from Poseidon, see what we get. Okay. Some more rats this time. Combination of little ones and big ones. And there was a little saw blade trap going across that way that actually helped us out there. Took out some of our enemies there. Ooh, golden urn hiding there. What do we have this time? More you guys. Okay, don't really want to be stepping in that poison if we don't have to. You guys are down. Nothing else in here. Let's move on. Get rid of the satyrs immediately. Pretty pleased. Thank you. So yeah, there you saw we were dealing over 1,000 damage with just a normal attack. I'm guessing that was when we were attacking from behind, because we do get bonus damage when we're hitting from behind, but nonetheless, that is huge damage. So I think that is making a big difference for us. And this is, in fact,
This time.
the last room, at least that we need to go into, because we picked up here the satyr sack,
Sack I need.
which is our way of, well, giving Cerberus perhaps a reason to step aside and let us through.
Me on my authority.
And here, okay, we have a few options with Poseidon. We can get a special boon. Like I said, we've generally been avoiding that for the most part. We could make it so that we get a random assortment of various gems, darkness, obols, and life restoration, which at the moment is not so helpful because we actually are about to use a fountain that will restore some of our HP, so that's not helpful. Darkness is helpful as a currency, but not as a life restoration item because, again, we'll be at full HP. A little bit of coins could be helpful, yes, but the gems are also something that is only useful once we head back at the end of this run, so this is not something that affects us all that much right now. And Ocean's Bounty actually makes the rewards of chambers worth more, meaning that if we got this early, every time we went into a darkness room, a coin room, it would have been more effective. So this is another one that you really want to get early, especially when it's epic rarity. But at this point in time, this could be our last room, and therefore, this might do precisely nothing for us. So I think, let's take Sunken Treasure, so that way we can at least get some coins immediately, which might help us when it comes to purchasing things from the super shop. Because yes, we could have also made a point of picking up the special upgrade, but we really have not been making a point of doing that because our attack, and to a lesser extent our cast, has been the way to go.
It goes down smooth.
Okay. So now we are up to maximum HP here. And we have an interesting question to ask ourselves here. That being, do we want to go through and try to finish the game here as things currently stand, or do we voluntarily face more enemies, go through additional areas to try to pick up things like additional palms, boons, maximum life upgrades, and obols from defeating enemies that could make it easier for us to pick up more of these items here. We are on currently 511 gold, so that means that we could, say, pick up either just Dionysus, combination of the Super Palm and the Poseidon, or this hammer upgrade, but as I was saying, not a huge fan of it, at least not in this circumstance. So I think I'm kind of leaning Dionysus here. Let's try this out. And this is not something that we've gotten yet. It has the scroll. Using a fountain restores all life and gives you bonus damage. Well, this is another thing that is great to pick up early, because every time you use a fountain, we actually had a ton of them in this run that would have increased our damage. Of course, we just used one and will not likely have any more from here on out, so that means that it really doesn't do anything for us, other than giving us an upgrade that we've not yet picked up for scroll reasons. But the other things here are not super relevant either. Well, actually, I take that back. The special could be quite useful if we do ultimately want to go the special route, because, well, it is an epic rarity one, so at least it's got that going for it. But also, Positive Outlook makes it so that we take less damage when we fall below 40% HP, 20% reduced damage. We are, well, about to be going into a fairly difficult fight, so this could be quite relevant, come to think of it. So you know what? I think in this specific circumstance, it does make a lot of sense. I would have taken the scroll option if it wasn't completely useless at this point in time, and that was in fact the case. So I think we do want to go into this fight here, because we do still have the effects of the Cyclops Jerky helping us out, whereas if we were to go down additional areas voluntarily, and yes, we could potentially pick up more boons and more ovals to purchase more things, but we would have this expire, and we might take additional damage along the way. So I think, because we have this going for us, and we're on full HP here, let's make a point of going in now.
The prince compels the multi-headed hound to let him pass.
So, you know, we just give Cerberus the Satyr sack, and he goes away and snacks because we totally bribed him. And with this, we finally step out of the Underworld. But it's not that simple.
You still have yet to see the sun itself. You know only the light of Ixion, but the sun, it is positively blinding, hideous.
Easy for you to say.
It has been snowy nightfall every single time now that you mention it. I didn't know it snowed so much up here.
It hasn't always, but that's of no consequence to us. Especially when there's a raging battle to be fought.
Raging battle, you say? This music is new as well. Oh, I like it. It's tense. Okay. Here we go. We are now, of course, fighting our dad here, Hades. We do have the additional damage at the beginning of the fight, so I wanted to make a point of attacking him early. So if you could say, like, a tier here, that'd be great. I know we took damage in the process. I was thinking that probably was worth making that trade-off. Additional damage is no longer in effect here. We summon in some friends. And that is his big spinny attack that always hits me. Oh, and actually, his hand friend attacked us and caught us there. So this is another occasion where I'm deliberately going to wait and try to charge up our God gauge all the way before we use it. These guys here, the throws out are skulls that basically explode if we allow their duration to reach 0. You'll see when he does throw them, well, if we let them stay up, they would have a counter above their heads.
Rest in peace.
Or the hands. I'm not a huge fan of them having those, because as we saw before, they can lock us in place, which is an unfortunate thing to happen. We took it out there. There's the counter above the head of this guy, and this guy as well. It means generally you are going to want to try to take those out as soon as possible. We are taking a little more damage than I would like to take. We are on a full God Gauge, but I'm deliberately going to wait a little while longer here. We'll see why in just a second. Because, well, Hades is down, right?
Alright then, boy. You've stirred my anger suitably by now.
Except, not quite. Ah, that does hit us. I did not remember that. Let's use it now, perhaps.
You and your relatives.
Please just stand right there. Allow us to hit you repeatedly. Okay, and now he's gonna get mad at us. And by get mad at us, I mean create these things. Does that destroy them? It does, okay. And those will create those little circles that deal damage to us. And we also want to be hiding behind this thing when he shoots his giant laser beams. Back to giant laser beams? Yes. Can we say, shoot this at you while you're doing that? Yes, but I picked the wrong time. Try to do that. Thought you were done with it. In fact, you were only starting it. We are getting low on HP here. Yes. Want to try to get rid of these things from afar, ideally, so that, yeah, we don't, like, run into all of them simultaneously. But there's our first Death Defiance, meaning that we will come back here with half HP. We are relatively on our God Gauge, so we could opt to use that pretty soon here. Get hit by that as well. There you see Positive Outlook is taking effect, meaning that we are below 40% HP, meaning that we are taking less damage. But Hades down.
How? You... Go. Go then. Go! Get out of here! Get out!
Whatever you say, Dad.
I told you that I would, Father. And I'm going to. Goodbye.
Wait, just... If you find her... If you somehow find her... Tell her something for me. Tell her Cerberus is doing very well.
Oh, that's sweet.
What? Wait, I don't think I owe you any favors here. Answer me one question and I'll give it some thought. How's that?
Okay.
I know your question, boy. But ask it anyway.
Persephone, my mother, why did she leave?
So, admittedly, if this is your first time playing or seeing Hades, these are some spoilers, of course, but basically, Zagreus is trying to escape the underworld, yes, and learned that his mother, Persephone, has left the underworld for unexplained reasons, and Hades is not telling us why. So, in addition to trying to escape our tyrannical father, we're also trying to track down our mother, who we've never seen. No! He's never going to tell us! So this is what it looks like when we die in-game. So it is cool to see that the same thing happens for Hades. And successful run, yes, that was made in large part by the high attack damage from the Athena boon, Divine Strike, along with those early Chaos boons that also boosted our attack damage. Got some hammer upgrades too that helped us because, well, they give us even higher base attack damage. So that was the name of the game here. Ultimately, it worked out for us, and we will get some Titan Blood here, which is a valuable resource for us to upgrade some things back home. And previously, before the full release of the game, when you went through here, I guess this is like kinda spoilers, but basically it would say, well, nice try, you can't actually go through here, you can't actually escape the underworld, but supposedly the big thing with the full release of the game was there is now the quote-unquote true ending, so I'm very intrigued to see what that is all about. Let's take a look. What happens when we leave? What? There is somewhere to go.
I made it.
Reese?
Frozen overlook. Await the first glimpse of the sun to your left, and onward through the cold.
We're actually...
Sure hope this works, Nyx.
Out of the underworld. Notably, we cannot walk faster than this. This is the only movement speed we have, but just, like, appreciate the fact that we are out. Which, especially after playing this game for a year and not being able to do this, it's quite the sight to see. So dramatic as well. The water still moving. Something to check out here, perhaps.
The surface, windswept, racked by freezing cold, nonetheless instills within the prince a sense of awe and the sublime, for it is unlike anything that he has seen.
Definitely.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's new, mysterious, definitely dramatic, yes. What is this? Light? Seemingly? I feel like, I mean, we're definitely supposed to go in that direction, but at the same time, is there anything over here? I don't think so. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so, we spent all this time going through the underworld, and notably, the gods and goddesses could talk to us, but they couldn't actually hear back from us. It was a one-way message, and they've never actually seen us.
That thing. That's the sun.
And we hear all these comments about how Zagreus and Hades don't ever know if it's actually day or night, because you can never tell in the underworld, and this is his first look at the sun. What do we have here?
Is this a cat?
I don't know. Oh? So of course it was winter over there, and Hades was saying how nowadays it is basically always winter, except here. You see that of course the snow it's gone and everything looks green and lush.
Who's there?
Hold on. Hold on.
Hello?
Hello indeed.
Hello indeed.
Pray, who might you be wandering all the way out here? You're trespassing on private property, you know. Speak up.
Hello there.
You must be Persephone. My name is Zagreus, and I think I might be your son.
Possibly? Hey, Mom?
What? How dare! Get out of here!
But,
Get out, or I shall make you. Out with you!
Mom! We've been spending all this time just trying to find you.
No, so then you are her. I don't care if you hate me, but I'm not leaving until I get some answers. I never even knew you existed. Why did you leave me?
You died. You died. Those burning feet, they sputtered out when you were born. But now you're standing here before me. How?
But we're immortal. We're the child of a god and a goddess.
I died? What, you mean permanently died? But I'm alive. Oh, gods. You never even knew I existed either.
Oh! But, how?
Alive. Zagreus, he even kept your name. You live. How can this be? You live. You live. Oh, the cruel fates. My son.
Oh, okay. Glad to see that Mom does in fact appear to be accepting us. Making me nervous there. Time passes.
In short, I beat him finally, though he did everything he could to prevent our meeting here like this. But there's something he wanted me to tell you in the end. He said to tell you Cerberus is doing very well.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we did say maybe we weren't actually gonna tell her about that, because we don't exactly owe Hades any favors after he tried to do everything in his power to make it so we could not escape, but I suppose this is as much for our mom Persephone as it is for him.
Ah, he told you that, did he? That's good. That's good. Though, tell me something, Zagreus. How is it that you found me? To have journeyed all this way, I scarce believe it. Zagreus?
Well, you see...
Guess I'm just a little tired, that's all. Not accustomed to the weather, as I think you call it.
I don't know about that. That doesn't look so good.
No. No, that isn't it. It's that... you cannot stay here.
What?
You can't stay here.
No!
Really, you're kicking me out? Why?
Is it because we're a being of the underworld and we can't actually stand to be on the surface like this?
The fates are cruel, Zagreus. You're bound to that place. Same as your father. So they would have us say goodbye. For now. My heart soars knowing you live. Then it breaks that our time together was so brief.
No, I can come back. I can come back. Now that I found you, maybe he'll just let me come back.
Yes, that'd be great, but something tells me that's not going to be the case.
You tell him I demand it. And
Oh.
I demand he also tell me how come he, or for that matter Nyx, never sent notice that you lived. Olympus is all rife with schemers. But I was so naive to think that they were different.
I'll tell him. I'll tell him. I feel awful. I have to go.
Hi, Mom.
The Styx shall take you then. Oh, Zagreus. Farewell, my son. Won't you come back to me? When you are able, please. Come back. I shall be waiting here. However long it takes.
Bye, Mom.
However long it takes. Can't hold on. Mother, I have to get back there.
And so a new way for us to end a run in that way. Never seen any of that stuff before, so we can now finally find our mother. It's great to see. And, well, that does, of course, bring us back to the House of Hades, meaning we are back in the thick of the underworld. What does Dad have to say about this?
You are late, boy. Have you any idea what time it is?
Well, we actually have been up to the surface now, and the sun was out, so I suppose, based on that, it was somewhere roughly around noontime.
No. Wait, what? I vanquished you in single combat and finally found Mother, and that's all you have to say to me?
Nonsense. Don't you think I would recall such an event?
Hold on. We did take you out. Thank you very much.
You can't be serious. You're going to pretend as though it never happened. She wants answers, same as I do. She demands you let me pass. Let me go to her again.
Huh?
Silence. This discussion is over. I hardly think this is the time or place to indulge your overwrought imagination.
Imagination? We took you out.
I know where we can continue this discussion then.
I suppose there's one way we could prove it to you. Let's talk to our other friends, see if anyone is available right now.
Hey,
including
listen a moment,
Achilles.
lad. I require your discretion with regards to whom we spoke about last time. The Shade you met with in Elysium.
Okay. So we did not see him in this previous run, of course, but this is a reference to something that happened a little while ago.
I understand. What can I do about this, sir? It must be something. But you have to let me know what's going on.
Simply put, he is the reason that I'm here. Patroclus lost his life before I did, because of me. I shortly followed, in a rage. When I arrived here, I received a hero's welcome. Your father himself ushered me to Elysium. But that's not what I wanted.
I was wondering why Achilles was in Tartarus, the place where, supposedly, only the worst of the worst end up. And Achilles, what with him being the famed hero that he is, surprised that he met with that fate.
You wanted to see Patroclus, but he's in Elysium while you... Oh no.
He makes some kind of deal with death? That perhaps didn't go as planned?
I signed a pact, lad.
That he did.
The terms were good enough. He could live there, while I'd live here, at least for now. Such deals are most uncommon, and their confidentiality must be upheld. But let's speak no more of this for now, all right? Some other time.
Okay.
All right.
That is, that's harsh. That's harsh, Achilles. No one else to talk to over here. No Cerberus either. Normally we'd find him right there. There's no dogs to pet. Sad face.
Hey, that's new.
Codex Index is new. It updates the codex with a handy list of boons for each Olympian. Sure. Okay. Cost gemstones. We have enough of them. Why not?
The more I know about the boons I'm offered, the better off I'll be.
Seems right.
Better off, believe you me.
Okay, and there might be other new things here, but I think for the most part, that might be the big thing that we're looking to pick up there. So these are things that we can purchase with those gemstones that we got from the previous run. And then we can also speak to other friends that we have down here in the House of Hades,
Oh, hello, Zagreus.
including Orpheus.
You look a little down. And so I was just wondering, would you perchance fancy a song right now?
Oh, sure. And we get to choose? Okay. In the Blood, I guess?
How about In the Blood? That's one of your old hits, right?
Of course it is, yeah. Back from the year... what year is it? India? I don't know.
Oh, fancy that one, do you? Alas, I've not the heart to sing it anymore.
Oh.
I'm glad you like it, though.
Well, that was a big tease. I suppose we could gift you a nectar and see if maybe then you'll consider it?
I'm very much obliged that you have thought of me again for such a wonderfully thoughtful gift.
Now, does that mean you'll sing?
It's nothing, Orpheus. Thank you for all the inspiration through your song. I love your work, mate.
At least, giving Orpheus a bit of a confidence boost seems like he might need one. Meg, of course we did, well, fight you on that previous run, but maybe we give you a little nectar first, and maybe that'll cheer you up as well.
Such gifts won't stay my whip when next we meet out there. You realize that, right?
Okay. You know, thanks would have worked as well.
I realize it. And I hope you never change, Meg.
Oh. Look at the two of them. So sweet. Such a good match.
I heard you finally made it out. What, did you break out of here only to die in some pathetic way on the surface?
Let's not talk about it.
Long story, but yeah. Boils down to what you said, more or less.
So you're going back out there again? Well, it's your business, not mine. For your sake, I hope it's worth it.
Definitely.
It is.
Okay, so we can also listen to some shades chatting over here. Should have seen the other guy. Calls of death. Brawl.
Dinner, maybe?
Whatever time of day or meal we're supposed to be eating right now. So, this is where we exchange our fish.
Here's all I caught.
Picked up a couple the previous run. And when we cash those in, we get other rewards, as you can see there in the bottom right corner. Things like gems, stuff of that sort.
Let's see here.
And we could, say, turn in darkness for gems, and then use that to go down this chain of trades and get some better stuff, which I think at this point in time, pretty sure we're doing okay on darkness, so I'm feeling fairly comfortable getting rid of 300 darkness for 50 gemstones.
Good deal. Here's the fee.
So let's do it. And then, let's also chat a bit with Nyx, who was kind of posing as our mother for a while before we learned that Persephone was our actual mother, and so, yeah, you also definitely have some explaining to do, because you kind of fed into that whole dynamic. But let's perhaps butter you up a little bit first.
You honor me, my child, although I dread that I am not deserving of such generosity. There is no need to flatter me like this.
Be that as it may, Nyx, I would still like for you to have it. With my compliments.
Right, you know, have to get on your good side, and then we ask you the hard-hitting questions. What the heck,
Fell
Nyx?
to you as once his father fell to him, although you were substantially more merciful. I know it is a bitter victory at best. Though, tell me, what transpired subsequently that you have returned? Did you locate your birth mother?
Indeed.
I did. She was there. She was where you said she'd be. And more than I imagined, but I had so little time with her. I can't survive up there for very long. Why didn't you tell me I'd just die no matter what?
Oh,
Come
my
on,
child.
Nyx.
I say this seldomly, but I did not know, or I did not wish to believe, that the surface would have such an effect on you. But it seems you share your father's fate, after all.
Ah, curse to the underworld. Sentence there, at least.
My father's fate. But he is smugly waiting for me every single time I make it there and seems quite healthy by then, all in all. Though, maybe the farther we get from this realm, the worse we get. Because he cast his lot, inheriting the underworld.
So I now presume you are bound to this realm by powers greater even than mine. Tell me something. If you knew that you could only see Persephone for but a moment's time, would you still make the journey to her there?
Is it still worth it?
Yes. Yes, I would. I had so many questions left for her.
It's true. Time passed, yes, so hard to say exactly how long it was, but from what I can tell, it was still quite brief.
Then go and ask them, child. Steady your resolve and find her there again. And use well what brief time you have with one another whilst you can. As mortals do.
Okay.
As mortals do.
Yeah. It's, very interesting in that way, in that it was very much like we were no longer a god on that occasion. What with our limited time. And here is Dusa, honey in the corner. Let's gift her a nectar.
There must be some mistake. Prince, you're giving this to me?
No mistake, Dusa.
I want
For
you
you.
to know we all appreciate you, Dusa. Don't work yourself too hard on my account, okay?
As for our actual chat,
Oh, hey, you brought some fish. Could smell it all the way from down the hall. That's great. The head chef can take it off your hands. Should be right in the back of the lounge like always. Thanks for helping us out, Prince.
no worries, Dusa.
Sure.
Okay, so I believe that is just about everyone for us to talk to there. We did perhaps complete a prophecy or two, though, along the way.
Scratch one off the fated list.
Primordial Banes. The son of the god of the dead shall someday suffer various curses inflicted by primordial chaos. Ah, okay, so apparently we did not yet get all the possible downsides from
I
chaos.
think Master Chaos just likes messing with me.
Indeed. That gives us a bunch more keys. We're at 43 now, in fact. That's awesome. We could see if there are more things for us to upgrade at the mirror. But... Huh?
Another weapon.
You mean this? So... We can unlock these. The Twin Fists of Malphon. Which does, actually, also finish a prophecy for us. But what do these do? There's some close range, quick attacking punches of sorts. The special looks like that. And then the cast is the usual. That type of thing. So, those are not new, it's just that we took a long time to unlock those for some strange reason. So, that is another thing that we can check out soon. As for Skelly...
How do you know all this stuff, by the way? I mean, no offense, but you're a skeleton who just stands around. Yet you have this wealth of knowledge of the underworld.
Indeed.
Hey, I know people, pal. We'll just have to leave it at that. Now let's see you break some of these bones, huh?
So Skelly is our practice dummy of sorts down here. That we can use to, well, test out new weapons like the fists here. And we could, say, just turn in that prophecy real quick, make sure that we pick up the additional something. From now unlocking all the weapons, this time it's a bunch of gems.
Nice to have my ancient legendary weapons there.
And we did also find that there are a few more prophecies that are now known to us, like Power Without Equal. But I believe this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here, because we did, of course, finish up that run there. So I'm just gonna put us on this screen here. And like I said, we did finally see what is the true ending of the game. We met our mother. Been a long time coming for that, and unfortunately only a brief amount of time in which to talk to her. So we'll have to make a point of getting a chance to speak to her again soon. Only way to do that will, of course, be taking down our dad one more time. So, if you are liking this Hades stuff, you can check out my Hades playthrough for my initial playthrough, because, of course, we played the game back when it was in early access, so you can check out my first impression of the game through that. We are also doing Hades streams on Saturdays, if you are interested in checking that out there. You can see on Twitch at twitch.tv/lidsvids. We are doing Community Hades Night, that being you guys can pick all the boons, all the weapons, all the stuff that we purchased from the shops. That is all up to you. And so that's all the ways that you can get more involved in all this Hades stuff. So with that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you had a fun time. I'll see you next time.